Okay.
there we go. So let me wait the obligatory 10 to 15 seconds to see if it actually shows up on the. There
I
it
just
is.
got a notification.
Cool. Well, you're on. So anyway, hi guys. How are you? This is going to be probably the strangest YouTube event that you've ever seen. Don't know how much attention we're going to attract, but I see we got Art here and Jody. How you doing, guys? Mel is, as you know, quite the expert on all things DJI, and probably knows more about a lot of that stuff than I do. But I think I got about a 7 or 8 month head start on him in the FPV arena, and I'll let him tell you in a minute when we bring him in. But he asked if he got a couple FPV quads, and other than a little tiny whoop that he's been flying, which doesn't take a whole lot of configuring and everything else. They usually come out of the box pretty close. Now he's got a couple of real 5-inch quads, and asked me if I would help him get the radio configured and beta flight and all that tricky stuff that's taken me most of 2019 to kind of master with an awful lot of time and a lot of study. I said I'd be happy to do it. I said, why don't we do this as a live stream? And I was afraid that maybe Mel might be embarrassed that he doesn't know all this stuff yet, but you can't know all this stuff. And 8 months ago when I started, I didn't know shit. I didn't know what an XT60 connector was. So I've done a lot of it, come a long way, and still have a long way to go. But I'm happy to help Mel out. So let's bring in Mel. Here we are, and there he is. Hi, Mel. So we got Gary. Have you got the chat up?
Yes, I do now.
Okay.
Let me change back to that camera for a minute. Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Jody, Art, Brant. Hey.
There it is. So do you still think it's metal, or is it carbon fiber?
No, it's heavy.
Well, they're going to be heavy, but I have never heard of a metal, especially not a CL1 frame. It sounds like I can't imagine it's just not painted carbon. Let me see the very bottom of it. Wow. No, that's got to be carbon. That's got to be carbon. You know, one way to find out would be to take one of the motor screws out and look down in the hole there and see if it looks black or if it looks silver. But I have no idea what tools you have, Mel. I have no idea what we're working with, and I thought that using the setups that we have with the multiple cameras, and rather than try to communicate on the phone or communicate over Skype, that this would, even if we didn't have an audience, that this would be probably the probably be the best way to do it, because what I can do using my OBS is I can give you top-down views like this of the radio when we're trying to figure out, because I haven't used this radio in a while, how to actually set it up for the new model. I can give you full page views like this of the beta flight when we're setting those things up. So I thought that this might be a better way, and if you could do the same and show me what's going on, that'd alleviate an awful lot of confusion. So I think that that might work out pretty good.
Right.
So do you have, first of all, do you have your radio, your Tyrannus handy?
I do.
Or you want to wait and you got the battery charged up?
Yep.
Okay. Now, is that the radio that you're using for your Tiny Hawk?
Yeah, I've got the Tiny Hawk programmed into it, and I've got a 9-channel receiver for my boat that I'm building programmed into it.
Okay. Well, we don't want that, but we do want to use the Tiny Hawk one, okay? Gary says Ken Hearn loses his morning gig. Yeah, this is a high paying gig, right, Mel?
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
so
well, I've got I can put how many different drones in this thing, or how many
probably,
different,
I think more than you'll ever have, 50,
right.
60. But what we want to do, rather than reinvent the wheel, what we want to do is we want to go and let me go over to mine and turn it on. And I'm going to swing over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that Tiny Hawk model, and we're just going to duplicate it and rename it and use that as a starting point. Okay. So what you want to do, and you can follow along with me, is you press this center button here, and that'll give you your different models. Okay. You see the different models? You don't hold it down, just press it once.
Well, no, because I'm on a different thing in the menu here. Let me exit out of that.
Okay, just exit
Now I
out,
can go there.
exit
Yep.
out, hit it once. Now use the wheel on the right and select the Tiny Hawk. Okay?
Yep.
So I'm gonna go in here and find my Tiny Hawk, and it's called where is it?
The Emax Hawk right there, right?
No, the one that I have, that's my full size Hawk, but I don't have it. But I can use
Oh,
that. It doesn't matter. And then you want to press the button and hold it down, and it'll say select model, backup model, copy model, move model. You want to drill down to where it says copy and hit enter. Okay. Now,
all right.
it's created a new, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see if you move the thing around, it carries that Emax Hawk with it, you see, or whatever the name of the one
Oh,
you're doing.
okay. Yeah.
And just find an empty space underneath. I'll use like 13 and hit the button again. Now it's created a model number 13, so you
Okay.
should have another model with the name
Yep.
Tiny Hawk. Okay,
Yep.
so what we want to do now with that one is we want to go over here and hit the button and hold it down again on the new model and hit select model, and an asterisk should show up on the left hand side.
Yep.
Okay, now that's now the current model. So nothing you do to that is going to affect the model you copied it from.
Right.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and edit this model. So you hit page once, and you see right up the bat is the name is
Yep.
highlighted. So
Yep.
press enter and hold it down, and then change it to whatever you want. And I'll call this new, and you hit enter and just edit the name. E W space. Now, one trick here is if I want to call this new drone and it's lowercase, if I hold this button in, it'll turn it to uppercase. And then when I select it, and then we want this one to say D Q R O. Are you doing this on your thing, calling it whatever you want to call it? Call it a CL1, call it whatever name you want to give it.
How do you make a space?
You go to that and just turn the knob all the way to the left.
Oh,
Okay. Then when you get to the end of what you want to name it, I called it new drone, you just hit exit, and that'll take you back to that field again. Okay. And now we've got a new drone which is identical to all the settings that you had on your Tiny Hawk. Okay. So we'll let you finish doing the naming, and I will. We got Les Exploration Obsession is in here too. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Merry Christmas to you. It is Christmas Eve. So you get it named, and you can always, you can always go back in and change the name of this thing. Okay, anytime
Yeah.
you want, you just go back in and edit.
All right. I
All
got, I
right.
got it named. I named it the white one.
The white one. Okay, cool. All right. So
Yeah.
you got the drone. You got the
It's
drone
white.
named. Now, one of the things that we're going to assume that it's got a FR Sky or Free Sky D16 receiver in it. The D16 protocol is the RSXR, the XM Plus, and since it's got those two antennas, it's got to be one of those. Now, can you find the receiver? Because eventually we're going to have to bind the radio to the receiver, but we're not going to do that yet. Can you find the receiver? And you may actually have to take the top plate off to get to it. But see if you can follow those two antenna wires that go down those two white tubes sticking up, and see where they come out and where they go to. And they should go into a little tiny chip about a half-inch wide, and that's
Yep.
going to be
And
your receiver.
it's up on top.
Okay, so we're going to have to get to that eventually to bind it to the transmitter, because there's a tiny little button we're going to have to use for that. But let's not put the cart before the horse. Okay, let's take a look right now at what you've got in this radio. So follow me through this, Mel. Watch what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to hit exit out of here, and it takes me back to the main screen where it says the name of my drone. You see it like that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to hit this button here once, and it'll take me back to the model select again. Hit the left button with the hamburger on it. There you go. And then hit page. Okay. Now what this page tells you is all the information, and instead of scrolling the knob to the right, scroll it to the left, and that'll take you all the way to the bottom, and then go up to where it should say external RF off,
Yep.
and then it goes up and it says internal RF, and you see where I'm going, it says channel 1 to something or other, and it says receiver number, bind, range, no pulses. Do you have all that?
Yep.
Okay, what does yours say? Does yours look like mine?
Channel range is 1 to 8,
Okay, so the first thing you
and
got to
the
do.
mode is D8.
Yeah, okay, so what you want to do is you want to highlight where it says channel 1,
Okay.
and hit the button to edit it. No, you want to leave that alone. You want to go back to mode. I'm sorry. Hit exit and go back to mode. Hit enter
Make it
and
16.
select D16.
Okay.
All right. So now you've got D16. Does it say channel 1 to 16?
Yep.
Have you got the receiver number and bind and range there underneath that?
Receiver number.
Right here where I'm
Yep.
highlighted now.
01
Okay.
bind and range. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. You can use one. That's not really that important. If it is important on a lot of radios because they have what they call model match, so that you can't accidentally think you're flying one model and control another. They give each receiver an independent number, but for us, just leave it at 01. And failsafe should say no pulses, correct?
Failsafe says not set.
Okay, go down to failsafe, highlight it, and select no pulses.
Okay.
Okay, now hit exit. Now,
All right.
go to the page button. Hit page. Hit page again. Keep hitting page until you get to a screen that says inputs.
All right.
Now, does yours say throttle, aileron, elevator, or rudder? Or is that what it says
Yep.
for the first four? Okay. So keep that in mind. You see where it says throttle, elevator? That's very important in setting up a quad, because when you go into beta flight, there's a place in beta flight where you have to tell it the order of the first four channels. And TAER is what you're using there, but TAER is not the most common. AETR is the most common, and that's how come a lot of guys get into Betaflight and work the sticks and nothing matches up. So
Oh,
yours is set up TAER. Now, what have you got? You notice I don't have anything on input
yeah,
five. What
I've
have you
got
got?
arm mode, BP. I guess that's beep.
Beeper, beeper.
So I've got arm mode, beeper,
Okay,
and
that's
that's
fine.
it for
You
now.
don't need to set up inputs for those switches. You can set them up in the mixer. So go hit exit again. Hit exit. Okay. Go. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone back that far. Hit the hamburger again. Page. Just keep hitting page now until you get to mixer.
Okay,
All right. So you notice your first four channels are throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder,
right?
and then channel five should say arm or something because that's what
Yep.
you're using. Okay. Channel six should say mode.
And channel 7 is beeper.
Okay, so basically, channel five is going to become aux one when you translate it into Betaflight. Betaflight starts numbering its auxiliary channels after the first four basic channels. So just remember that aux one, and this is standard convention. That's why I said we could duplicate the model. It's probably already set up. But aux one is generally ARM. What switch have you got it on?
This top left one over here on the top.
Good. That's the one I normally use. And which switch is set for the mode?
Well, that's what I don't know. It's one of these two.
Okay. It's probably if it does it say SA. If the switch isn't there, you're going to have to go back to the inputs page, and you'll be able to see what's it. But that's all right. We'll leave, that'll be fine for now because that'll be real easy to find out in Betaflight by just flicking the switch and see
Yeah.
which one what it switches to. Okay, so believe it or not, other than setting the midpoint and limits, which a lot of guys never do, but it's really important in Betaflight. You've heard about having the microseconds at 1500 midpoint, 1000 at the bottom, and 2000 at the top. Remember that?
I don't know, but I've got
Okay. Well,
midpoint set in my Tiny Hawk.
we're gonna get to that. Okay, so for right now, you can just turn the radio off because that's all we're gonna really do on the radio right now. And I'll turn mine off. Okay, so that's the easiest way. The easiest way to set up the radio is to just copy a model that's very, very close, and then rename it, make it the active model, and then go in and select, make the changes to it that you need. You may have to add some switches. The the way that a lot of guys set it up is create what they call an input, and then give the input a name, and then go into the mixer and use the name. I find it a lot easier unless you have to have if it's just a basic switch input, just to go into the mixer, create the channel in the mixer, and then just tell it basically. You can give it a name, ARM mode, and then just assign it to a switch. And that way, when you look in the mixer, you'll actually see the name of the switch that it's assigned to. Well, anyway, Mel, we got 10 people watching this. How about that?
Ah, nice.
Holy cow. Let me just run through here real quick and say hello. Who else came in? Metro Drones, how you doing? Rodney Bell is here. Hey, Rodney. They're all coming to watch you figure this out, Mel.
Yep. And I get to do mine ahead of Rodney because I met up with Brent yesterday and he gave me the drone where he had to mail his to Rodney.
Well, hopefully, and one of the reasons that I thought it might be fun to do this on a live stream is that there might be people might not want to watch the whole thing, but there may be bits and pieces of this that'll help some, like maybe Rodney when he's setting his up. He'll be able to just watch what we did. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is see what you got in this drone. Okay, let's see what you have. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to hook it up to Betaflight. Now I see you managed to get the props off,
Yeah.
and we talked about that last night. And one of the greatest no-nos that it maybe isn't stressed enough, but people should know is on a 5-inch quad, you never power the quad up with a lipo indoors with the props on. The thing is like an aerial chainsaw. It could cut you up awfully. So whenever you work on these things, you always take the props off, and it's a pain, to those things, especially if they have the counter rotating motors. Were all your motors clockwise motors, or did you have some where the threads were backwards?
No, the threads were all the same.
Okay, if you ever find a quad that's got 2 silver nuts on it and 2 black nuts, the black nuts will be counterclockwise rotating. They do that because the way the motors spin, they want them to tend to tighten up the
Right.
the things. But they're getting away from that, especially with turtle mode, because when you flip a quad over in turtle mode, it runs the motors backwards anyway, and it's more likely to loosen the prop in that mode than just flying. So most of them are straight now, but if you try to take a prop off of one of these things and for some reason you can't get it unloosened, don't break the shaft on the motor. It's probably a reverse thread. And generally, on props in, if you're looking at the quad from the rear, okay, the 2 reversed motors will be on the front right and the left rear. Those will be the ones that'll have the counterclockwise motors on them. The front right. Wait a minute. No, I think it's the other way around. It's going to be the silver nut on the front right. Right. It's going to be the front left and the right rear will probably be the counterclockwise motors, props in.
All right. Well, we'll have to figure that out.
Well, it does. You're all clockwise motors, but one of the parts of setting these things up, and if this thing has ever been flown, I'm sure the ESCs are set properly so that the motors all run in the right direction. But one of the things we're going to check in Betaflight is that all the 4 motors are turning in the proper direction. And the way the motors are numbered, it starts at the back rear is generally motor number 1. You'll see that in Betaflight. So what I'm going to do here so that you can to follow with you is I'm going to take this little tiny hawk of mine, and I'm gonna plug it in to my computer. And I saw that you already plugged yours in. Is it blinking?
Is what blinking?
Is something blinking on your? Is there a light blinking on
Yeah.
your quad? Okay, good. All right, so you're plugged in. There it is.
Yeah,
You're plugged in, and now I want you to go over to. Oh, I see. You sent me your screen. Super. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. And what I'm going to do is. I'm not going to look at it right now because I want to make mine a little bigger so you can see my screen. So what I'm going to do here is go over to my Betaflight because it's going to be important that you look at mine as well. Now, if you look up here, you should have a COM port number listed.
Yeah.
Does it? Okay.
7.
Hit connect.
I did.
What happened?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Unless it's already connected. It's not connected already.
No, if it was connected, you'd end up with the screen that you're seeing here, and you move the quad around, and so try reloading Betaflight again before you connect the quad.
Oh, there we go.
All right, hit connect. Hit
telling
that.
me
It's
I
telling
need
you
an update.
it's telling you your Betaflight is old, but that's okay. That'll work. All right, so you are connected now.
Yeah.
Super. Okay, so once you're connected, I want to find out what you've got in that thing. So down on the right hand side is a thing that says CLI. See it? On the left hand side, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
says CLI. Click on that.
Okay.
And you can't, unfortunately, because my name is there, but down in the, there's a command line down at the bottom. It says write your command here.
Yeah.
Type version and enter.
Just VER or the full word?
No, the whole word, version. Okay, what does it say? Read it to me. Fury. It's kind of too tiny on my screen to read.
Fury,
what does it say?
Well, I don't have my glasses on and I'm doing it on a different monitor. Let me see if I can solve that problem.
Does it say Fury F40 SD?
Yeah, F40 SD.
Okay.
And then it says FY40 in parentheses.
And it's Betaflight 4.04, which is okay. It's not the latest version, but I don't want to get into flashing this thing. And right at this point, we want to just get it all.
Yeah, no, I had the message that said I had to update Betaflight or a newer version was available or something.
That was the configurator. That was the software, the Betaflight that you're running to view this stuff. That had nothing to do with the software on the drone.
Right.
That was the configurator. But what the latest version of Betaflight for a drone is up to 4.1 now. So, but we won't worry about that. 4.04 is fine. It'll fly on 4.04. So that's good. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, now go up and click on, hang on a second here. Let me get your picture out of there and get me back to this. Go up to setup again and click on it. The thing will reboot because it does that every time you get out of the CLI. And hit connect again. Okay, you're connected again?
Yeah.
Okay, go to ports. And let's see what you got there. Okay, so you have, you never, see this one up at the top here? See this one right here? You never, ever touch that. That is the port that it communicates through the USB port. If you turn that sucker off, you'll never be able to connect through your USB port.
Oh, okay.
So you never touch that. This second one down that you have there says serial RX is UART1. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm looking to see if you have any other features enabled on this thing. And I don't see disabled. Okay, what I'd be looking for here would be something that might say telemetry or smart audio, but it doesn't appear that you have any of that. So I don't know if your VTX has smart audio or not. Now, what smart audio is, and I'm going to show you mine here. If you look right here on UART2. Over here on the right, it says VTX TBS Smart Audio. You see that?
Yeah.
And that allows me, through use of the transmitter sticks, to change the power and the channel of the radio. And if you don't have that, that means we're going to have to figure out on your video transmitter how to use the buttons to change the power level and the channel. But that's down the road a little bit. So you've got that set. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is go to the configuration tab on the left.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to take a look. I think what I want to do is try to put the two of them side by side and see if I can actually see, will this let me do it? When I'm looking at your screen, I'm wondering if it'll let me do that, or if I can bring that in here. Nah, I can't. Okay, I just have to look at your screen. So what you notice up at the top there is that the way the props are numbered. One
Yep.
is the lower left, two, and then back to the back again, three and four. That's something you want to remember. That's called props in. You know the difference between props in and props out?
They rotate inward or outward.
Well, when they talk about inward, they're talking about towards the camera. Okay, so or towards the red arrow. So you notice that on each of the motors, the rotation arrows on each of the circles points in towards the motor and in from the rear towards the back of the arrow. Go ahead and just for grins, click that little button that says reverse motor direction. See what underneath the little quad there's a button that says
Oh.
reverse motor direction. Now
Oh,
you notice
okay.
there that it changed the rotation so that it turns away from the camera in the front and away from the back of the arrow. That's called props out. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The reason a lot of people, most people have said that it doesn't affect the handling of the quad very much. But what it does is think about if you land in grass and the props are in, it's going to cut the grass and throw them right onto the camera lens. Okay. Also, if you're running props in and you run into a branch or a tree, it's going to try to suck the branch or tree into the quad. If the props are turning the way you see them in the picture now, it tends to throw the garbage away from the camera lens.
Oh.
And if you were to run into a tree, it would tend to more bounce off of it than to suck it in. The disadvantage is that it does throw all that crap into your flight controller and electronics, which a lot of guys think is more harder to clean than the camera lens to wipe off. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The convention of most drones is going to be props in. So go ahead and click that little button back again because we're gonna do this props in. And that means that when you put the propellers on, you know which way the thrust is. If you put the propellers back on the quad, if you're looking at propeller number 2, if the leading edge is at the top, it has to point towards in. Okay? Hold that up close to the camera.
Yep.
Hold that up.
This
Now
prop
you're
goes
looking
right
at the
here.
are you looking at the bottom of the prop? Or that looks like the bottom of the prop.
Well, you're looking at the top of the prop.
Right, but pull the prop off and look and see where hold it right up to the cameras.
Well, Mitch, okay, that's the leading edge right there.
Right, but are you looking at from underneath or from on top?
From on top. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. That's the leading edge.
But the thing is, if you don't want to
Okay.
put the prop on upside down because it won't be as
Well,
efficient.
Okay, I get that, but it's pretty easy to tell what the trailing edge of the blade is and the leading edge of the blade.
I understand, Mel. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm asking you if you're looking at the bottom of the propeller or the top
Okay,
of the propeller.
Mitch,
And
to
the way
me,
to tell is there's numbers stamped on the hub, and the side
the
that
top.
has that's the top.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
for me, I've been looking at props long enough. It doesn't matter which way I look at it. I
Okay,
can
so
tell
you know,
which
like
way
I
the-
do, that you can look at a prop
Yeah.
and tell real quick. But that's correct. The leading edge would go to where it turns in. That would
Inward.
be turning counterclockwise. Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. And all right. So that's not a big deal.
Right. No, I got
Okay.
that part. That's
Okay.
easy.
Cool. That's a big mistake guys make. You put the one prop on backwards or the wrong side. You go to fly it, and the thing just flips out and does all
Oh,
kinds
sure.
of fun stuff.
I imagine.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna take a look at that configuration tab there, okay? And
And I'm still wondering why Rodney's sticking his tongue out at me, but that's okay. I don't know if he's still here.
Ed, love my drones is here. He says always have beta flight up before you plug in the bird. Yeah, I found that Ed, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Well, I
Especially
had beta.
if you don't have a flight battery hooked to it.
I plugged the drone in, and then I opened beta flight,
Yeah.
and I had to unplug the drone and plug it back in to get beta
Okay.
flight to read it.
I haven't found that to happen to me. Probably a good idea to have beta flight opened up when you plug the quad in, but Two schools of thought on that for sure, Ed says. Okay, so we're down here in the configuration now. And let's take a look and see what settings we have. Up in the top right-hand corner, there's a setting that says motor protocol. What have you got?
Says one shot, 125.
Okay, chances are that if you've got an F40 flight controller in there, chances are your ESCs are more recent. Let's start with D-Shot 300 on that. And probably could use D-Shot 600, but I think D-Shot 300 would be fine. And underneath that, motor stop and ESC sensor should be off. And then motor idle, what does it say for motor idle?
Well, let me get that far here. Let's see. Where are you seeing that?
Right under ESC sensor switch.
I got motor stop
ESC sensor.
and motor idle.
Oh, you don't have yours yours is an older version of the configurator, so it's going to look a little different. But there's a box with a number in there. What does it say? 5.5? Is that what it says? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now let's go over to the left column underneath the little drone where it says system configuration. I see you've got is that 8K hertz, 2K hertz?
Yep.
All right, that's fine. Accelerometer's turned on, but the other two are turned off, right?
Right.
Okay. The box under that is where you can name your drone if you want the name to show up everywhere. So
This says Punisher on it.
that's what that's what he called it, Punisher. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay, I'll just.
Is that you beeping? Oh, that's your charger beeping, it sounds like.
Maybe. Are you hearing that?
I heard it, yeah. Anyway, you can change the name Punisher if you want.
Oh, that battery's full.
All right, let's unplug it. Yeah, your battery's charged, so go ahead and unplug it.
I guess I did a good job soldering the lead back together.
Evidently it worked. Okay, let me look at the chat here and see what people are saying. Because you got your drone before I did. You and Rodney are going to have a real battle royale here.
Oh, well, that's because I'm special, Rodney. He hand delivered mine.
All right, so now let's go down to you got the drone renamed, or you leave it Punisher? Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna leave it for that for now.
Camera angle, that's another school of thought. Leave it at 0.
Okay.
Yeah. Now down to the receiver, it should say serial based. Okay. Yep. And underneath that, it should say S bus.
Yep.
Okay. Go down some more. You have, what do you have enabled? Air mode. Okay. I usually, and there's two schools of thought on air mode, and air mode is something you can study up on or read up on. But what it basically does is it's involved in when you pull the throttle all the way back. Air mode increases the RPM on certain motors so that the quad can keep flying even though you've given it full low throttle. It still needs to have enough to keep itself level, and air mode does that. It can cause the quad to bounce around a little bit when you try to land sometimes. I usually only have air mode active in acro mode, and I want it shut off in angle mode. But a lot and you do that by enabling it with a switch. In this case, you can have it active all the time, and the switch, and you don't need to set it up on a switch. So let's just leave that on right now. Then the next thing under that, it says it says ESC sensor no,
Yeah,
Anti-gravity,
the
yes.
on-screen display is on, anti-gravity is on, and dynamic filter is on.
Correct. Okay, that's you do want that. Now, down below that is your beacon, and that's the fact that the motors can beep. Uh, and you want to turn on RX set so that your beeper switch on your radio will make the motors beep. Okay, and then everything else under that should be turned on.
Yeah, okay, it is.
All right, and then when you go back up to the right column, we've got the motor, we've got board and sensor alignment. Leave that alone. It should all be zeros, or if it's not, leave it the way it is. Uh, Accelerometer trim, no, nothing. Arming, there's a switch that says it should be 180.
Yep.
Okay, and now what that means is the maximum arming angle. That was put in there as a safety thing, so that you couldn't arm your quad and start the motor spinning if it was at a greater number of degrees than what you put in there. So if you put 30 degrees in there, for example, and held the quad sideways straight up and down at 90 degrees, you wouldn't be able to arm it. But that's kind of defeats the purpose of turtle mode, where where you want to be able to arm it if it's stuck in a tree upside down or down on the ground. So you always change that to 180, which means it'll arm in any
Oh, okay.
any angle. So that's something. It comes default from when you load a new version of Betaflight. Of course, all the default values of that version are loaded in, and this thing is always defaulted to 20, I think 25. So that's something you always want to change. Or you get it stuck up in a tree and you say, "Hell, I can get it out of the tree just by arming it, spinning the motors," and then it won't let you arm. So that'll be kind of counterproductive. The rest of the stuff on that page, the GPS, you don't have any of that other stuff. Okay, so before you ever leave a page in Betaflight where you may have changed anything, you always have to remember to hit the save at the bottom. So hit save and reboot, and it's going to reboot again, and then you have to load the drone back in. Okay, so you're back into it.
Yep.
Go down to the next tab, power and battery. Power and battery is where you can set where your alarms start flashing in your on-screen display. Minimum cell voltage, maximum cell voltage. What have you got there? You've got 3.3, 4.3, 3.5. That's probably okay. So just leave that. That's fine. We don't need to do anything on that screen. Let me take a quick look at your PIDs. So go into your PID tuning, and we're not going to fool with this now, but what I do want to look at is your rates, so this is stock. See where it says 667 rotate degrees per second? That's a stock PID setup on that version of Betaflight. So we're just going to leave that alone. We're not going to touch it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the
Hey,
next
Jim.
one down says receiver. Now, let me see what your receiver tab looks like. Okay. First thing you want to look up at where it says channel map up at the top there in the center. See that where it says channel map?
Yeah.
See yours says AETR?
Yeah.
And wasn't your throttle your first channel?
Yep.
Okay, so you
But I
probably
think to get the Tiny Hawk to work, that's how I had to set it.
yeah, and now is the time when it would probably be a good idea to see if we can't bind up the receiver. Ken Heron just wished me a happy holiday on I think it was a comment on this video.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't
Let me
get
see.
comments on this video yet.
No, or was he in the chat? Maybe.
Oh.
Well, anyways, or an email. At any rate, I haven't looked at it. I just got a notification, so somehow he wished us happy holidays. He saw us on here. I think now might be a good time, Mel, to stop and get the receiver working. Okay.
Okay. I
So
know there's a button in there I got to push to pair it, right?
yeah, it's a tiny little tiny. Let me see. Can you get a close up of the receiver? Where's the receiver?
It's right there in the. There, you can just barely see it right there at the very top, on the bottom of the top
Top plate.
plate right there.
Okay, so it's right there, right over the flight controller.
Yeah.
Any holes in the top plate?
Yeah, there are, but I'm not sure if I can see the button.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to remove the top plate to get to that. Is it stuck to the top plate with sticky?
It's stuck to the top plate with something, it looks like.
Yeah, we're gonna need to and I don't know whether it's in there which way right side up is, whether it's up or down and
All right.
which
Well, I'm
way.
gonna let me get my grandpa glasses.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
got
you're
to
gonna
get
need to
them.
see for this.
I got to get them out of my truck. And if I
Okay.
have to take the top plate off, I'll need my Allen drivers. So
Yeah,
I'll
and
have to
that'll
get those
be
two.
that'll be a 2 millimeter probably.
Yeah, that's about what it looks like.
Yeah.
So if you want to go full screen with you and visit for a minute while I go
Sure.
round stuff up,
Okay. I
okay,
can
I'll
do
be
that.
back in a minute.
All righty. Huh. So can you imagine us trying to do this over the phone? Anybody else like to come in and talk to me for a few minutes or sit in the panel and watch quietly in the background? You're more than welcome. Jim Wallace, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year. We got Rodney, Art still around. Got 13 people watching this little adventure. Wow. Let me get me. So what I'm going to do right now is disconnect my little tiny hawk for the time being. And we'll wait for Mel to come back with his tools. And if you can, normally what we're doing right now, you would do while you were building the drone. In other words, one of the first things you would do when you get to the point where you've got the flight controller in there and the power to it is you would go and set up your transmitter and bind the receiver while it was just sitting out there in the open, and then that way you can you can test it out and get everything set so you don't have to take the whole drone apart. If you go to maintain a drone and you end up having to flash the receiver with some new firmware, or like in this case, you got a drone from somebody else and you want to get it over onto your radio, more often than not, when it comes to the receiver, you are going to have to open the drone up. And I find that even with this little fleet I have of drones, if I want to update the firmware, I'll go ahead and have to take it apart most cases. And when I got the new radio and had to switch all the drones over to the new radio, it wouldn't let me just copy the models. I had to actually rebind every one of the models that I have. Art, you want to come in? Yeah, that's great. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just put I'm just going to put the link here in the chat, and the only caveat would be that if you do come in, the main reason of this is for me and Mel to chat. So I'm sure that you guys will not keep interrupting that, because then it'll just make it untenable. But I'd love to have a little audience off to the side. Be nothing wrong with that. So I just put the link in the chat, and if any of you guys, Art, come on in. You're a gentleman. I know you won't be interrupting all the time. Would love to have you. Love to have you. The gang's all here, and I was going to get a drink of water because when I talk so much, I start losing my voice. So we're sneaking up on it, and I'm always ready for you, Art. I'm ready for. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Good. Are we wasting our time here, or is
Well,
there anything
hey, you know what?
anything?
I got a big cup of coffee here.
Oh man, that looks
Yeah.
good. That looks
Yep.
good. Well, I'll tell you
That,
what, Art. Talk. You got me interested. So talk to
okay.
the people for a minute. Teach them
All
something
right.
about drones,
Well,
and I'll be right back. I'm going to go get myself a cup of coffee.
hello, everyone. Merry Christmas and Merry Chaka Khan for Mitch. And uh, so I was wondering, he knows a lot about the brisk and the moil. So, what do they do with the? Do they make a brisket with the leftovers there? I don't know. Just a little ethnic humor there. So, how's everybody doing? Yep, I'm on vacation. I don't go back to work until Thursday. Then I work 2 days this week, 2 days next week. I'm off the rest of the week for New Year's. So uh, that's what's going on. And happy Chaka Khan to you, Mitch.
Chaka Khan, thank you very much. Chinooka.
Chinooka, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And Merry Festivus for the rest of us.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my liberal friends didn't like my Merry Christmas, my non-denominational, gender fluid, gender neutral holidays.
You know, everybody. I don't understand why everybody can't respect other people's beliefs.
Yeah,
It doesn't bother me until they try to jam it down my throat.
right.
Uh,
Hmm.
I'm a live and let live kind of, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to tell them what to believe in. If
right,
they ask me what I believe in, I'll explain what I believe in. And if
right,
they want to know the reasons, I'll tell them the reasons. But if they want to argue with me and try to change my mind,
right.
I won't put up with that. And I'm not
Mhm.
going to try to change their mind. I mean, because everybody who believes something generally has the attitude that if you don't believe what I believe, you're stupid and you're an idiot.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah,
everybody's entitled to their beliefs. Just
yeah,
keep it to yourself. And you hear me on all the Merry Christmas. I'm happy to wish people Merry Christmas,
yeah.
and even if it's not the holiday that I celebrate, I will tell you that as I did feel a little put out and disadvantaged in all these live stream contests you guys have been having with the Christmas trivia because, growing up a Jewish boy in Philadelphia, I
Yeah.
didn't get exposed to an awful lot of
Oh,
Christmas trivia. So I was at a
well,
real disadvantage and think that I should have gotten
well,
a
we should have
handicap.
gotten our dreidels out and
Yeah,
spun them
exactly,
around
exactly. We should have had
and say,
some
all right,
Hanukkah
what
questions like how
number
many
does it?
candles are on the menorah, things like that. I would have been a shoe-in for those answers, but
Well, on my contest, we didn't do Christmas trivia. We did rock and roll trivia
yeah.
for the big prize because, well, Chris was giving away an Econ camera, and Lloyd was the big winner, and he's not a rock and roll fan. And I picked a really tough question. My question was, name all the lead singers that played in AC/DC.
Oh, I can't even tell you one of them. That was not my style of music growing up. I always liked jazz. Okay, Mel, how's it going?
He doesn't have his headphones on, so he
Oh,
can't.
okay. Can't hear us. All right.
Yeah. So
So
yeah.
he's
So
he's
there were four lead singers in ACDC.
see now Mel looks like a drone builder
Yeah.
with turning screws.
Yep.
Okay, put your headphones on, Mel.
There we go.
Okay. All right, Art, I'm gonna
All right.
make you a
I'll
little
sit in the corner.
No, you sit there, but I mean, well, actually, I need to see Mel bigger. So,
Okay.
all right, Mel, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and hold it up. That's an XM Plus receiver, okay? And the bind button's going to be in right up in one of the corners. It's going to be a tiny little thing, probably copper looking. I can't hear you.
I see it.
There you go. Okay. It's a strange kind of button. Can you try to press it with your fingernail and see if you can feel the little click?
Yep.
Okay, get your radio out, and I'm going to get your radio out. Turn it on. Should open up in the model,
Yep.
white one. Hit the hamburger. Hit the page button once. Rotate the knob to the left. Go up to where it says bind. Highlight the bind. Where it says bind. It's next to receiver, right there, right in the middle. Highlight bind. Okay, leave it sit like that. Get your battery. Now this is get your third arm out, because what you need to do is you need to hold the bind button down and then plug the battery in and then let the bind button go. So you basically have to figure out how to plug it in one-handed. There you go. And hold the bind button down. Make sure you feel it click. And while it's clicked, plug the battery in. And hold it in. There you go. Okay, now let go of the bind button. Go ahead and push the enter button on the radio.
Hang
the
on.
silver. Okay, you have to do it again. You're not the running joke is you need, in order to do this by yourself, you really need a third hand. You need to have some help. The suspense is killing us. All right, let go of the bind button. Push the silver button on the radio. It'll start, and now it's say no telemetry 1 to 8. Select, rotate it down, select no telemetry 1 to 8, hit enter. Should start chirping away. Your receiver light is blinking. You see a little green light on there on the receiver, the little thing you just held the.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a green. I got a steady green and a blinking red.
Good. Okay. Go ahead and just.
But I got.
No, it doesn't. Forget that. That's the flight controller. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and hit the silver button on the radio. Unplug the quad. Plug the quad back in. Should have a solid green on the radio.
Yep.
You are bound, my friend. Okay. So now what we want to do is leave it just like that. Open beta flight again.
Beta flight's open.
Plug the USB.
It is.
You already plugged in. Okay. Are you let me see what your screen looks like. Okay. All right. Super. Now, what's really nice is you see the little quad rolling around, turning around, just spinning over there. That's because your mapping is wrong. So go up to where it says AETR.
Yep.
Highlight the AETR part of it. Not the 1, 2, 3, 4, just the first 4 letters. Highlight just the first 4 letters. Type TAER.
TAER.
Hit the save button down in the lower right-hand corner. And the little quad should not save, not reset.
Over.
See the save button down in the corner?
Well,
lower right-hand corner?
I got to move stuff out of the way here.
You can't
Now
hit
I
the
can
save.
see it.
Okay, hit the save button.
Okay.
Now, start moving the sticks on the radio and watch what happens to the little quad.
It's upside down.
Well, push forward on it and turn it right side up. The quad should be moving, yawing, rolling, and pitching based on your stick movements. Looks right.
On the diagram, what's the
Pull it back, pull the stick back so you can see the top. You'll see an arrow on the top. Roll it over till you can see the arrow. There you go.
okay, the arrow is the front or back?
It points to the front. So yaw up and down, roll left and right, pitch up and down.
Yep. It's all
Okay.
working the right way.
All right, good. Now, one other thing that you might notice is you see the one blue way down there, auxiliary 12 down there?
Floating
Bouncing
around, yeah.
Yeah. What that shows me that you do have an upgraded version of the receiver firmware. And what that upgraded, which is good because we don't have to flash the receiver now. And what that version of the firmware and receiver does is it takes the RSSI, which is the signal strength, okay, and it transmits it out on that channel to the drone. So up in the upper right-hand corner of that screen, you see a box that says RSSI.
Yeah.
Set that to AUX 12.
Okay.
And what that'll do is that'll let you in your OSD see the signal strength number in your goggles so you'll know what your strength is. Save all that.
I did.
Okay. Now, let's go to the modes tab. All right, there's nothing. What does it say up top there?
Use ranges to define the switches on your transmitter. Corresponding mode assignments.
And what does the little switch say? The bottom with the little button right underneath. It says.
This one here?
No, right above arm, there's a line, a small little line in that yellow
Oh,
box.
it says show or hide unused mode.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to arm this thing, set up the switches. So go ahead and hit add range on arm. Okay, click your arm switch. Did it change to AUX 12? All right, go back. Let's do this. Forget that.
Yeah,
for right
that
now.
says AUX 12 on it now.
No. It shouldn't. It should have changed automatically. Go back to the radio tab, receiver tab. Hit the arm switch. All right, that's AUX 1. Okay, hit the switch, the mode switch, which would be the one on the upper right-hand corner. Now hit your mode switch on your radio. The mode switch is going to be on the left side. That switch right there. Click that. That's AUX 3, huh? Okay, and now the momentary contact switch on the back on the right-hand side.
That's not doing
anything. Okay.
So this is the mode
AUX
switch, right? So like
yeah,
right
but
now it's in acro.
Right, but which switch is? It's not in anything until we set up the modes tabs. But what I want to do is see which switch moves which AUX channel. So how did you have it set up for your tiny hawk? Where was the mode to go from acro to angle?
This one here, aux 3.
Okay, so that really should be aux 2, but we can use aux 3. It's okay. Which
It
switch?
might have been because I don't remember. See, that was part of my problem with flying the Tiny Hawk. I couldn't remember which switches were supposed to do what.
Right, and this is where you have to come up with a convention, decide on it, and stick with it on every one of your quads from here on out. And the convention, the most used convention, the one that I use, is that top button way back on the left is the arm switch. Okay.
Right.
And down is disarmed and up is armed. Okay.
Right.
The mode switch is the one you have on aux 3. Okay. And the beeper is going to be the momentary contact switch way over on the right, where you hold it to make it beep.
Oh, okay.
So what we need to do is we need to assign some things in the mixer. So let's go back to, let me go back to my radio here. And I'm going to show you how to set this up, and then we'll come back to this. So we get out of that. I'm going to go to this here. I want to go over to this, and I want to show you how to set this up. Okay.
Welcome to Orca TX.
She's so sweet. She always welcomes me. All right. So follow along, Mel. We're gonna hit the hamburger. We're gonna hit page.
Well, wait a minute. I'm in the bind mode. I got to get out of this.
Oh
somehow.
you need to get out of that, and just start hitting exit till you're back to your
Okay.
main screen. Okay. So hit the hamburger. Hit page. Now you have all these things set up on your inputs, don't you?
Yes.
What does channel 5 say?
Channel 5 or aux 5?
No, you've got on the input page it says throttle, aileron,
5 was
elevator,
arm.
rudder, and then the fifth one down under rudder.
Arm.
Arm. Okay, well that one is working correct, and that's actually going to switch number
1.
switch number 1. Okay, so now
then
what we want to
mode.
do is go to
The next one down is mode, so that must have been no aux 2.
okay, so go down to the mode. God, I don't have it set up that way on here. I just use my mixers for these things, and I'll tell you what. Let's do. Let's highlight 5, like I'm doing right here. Just highlight the one that says 5. Okay. Hold it in, and you should see if you get see if it gives you a just delete it. Okay. Delete everything after rudder. Can you do that?
Well, I can do that, but why? I mean, I got it in
Because
there.
we're gonna really simplify this for you. Just delete everything after rudder. 5, 6, and 7. Just go ahead and delete them. And I'm going to show you how to set them up.
Okay.
Okay. Hit the exit. Let me see if I can. Okay. Did you hit the exit?
Do we want to exit out of here? Or do we want to set
No,
them up?
we want to go to the mixer page.
Okay.
The next page where it says mixer.
Am I on?
And if you don't find it, just exit all the way out and start over. Hit the hamburger and then the page key until you get to mixer. When you're shutting it off?
Okay.
All right, so hit hit exit. Hit page. page till you get to mixer.
Okay.
Okay. All right, go down to channel 5.
Yep.
Hold down the silver button. Delete it. Delete the 5, 6, and 7. And the one below it. Okay, now go back up to 5. Hit enter. Hit the silver button. That's enter. All right, now up at the top there it says mix name. You don't have to name it, but you might want to say ARM. So type ARM in there.
Well, the drone started beeping.
Well, unplug the drone for right now. Unplug the battery from the drone.
Do you not get uppercase and lowercase?
Yeah, when you get to the lowercase, if you want an uppercase, you just hold the button, the silver button in while you press it. Hold it, and it'll turn capitals.
Oh.
If you don't hold it, you'll get a lowercase.
And how do you?
And after
Okay,
you get the
got it.
ARM, just hit the exit key, and it'll take you back.
Okay.
Now exit. Go down to the next level where it says hit the silver key once till it starts blinking.
On source, right?
Right, hit the key once. Go ahead and work the arm switch. Move the arm switch. Selected that switch, hit exit. Exit again. All right, that's back again one more time. Just keep hitting exit till you get back to the mixer page. There you go. All right, so now you have an arm switch. Now go down to that one, hit enter, type in mode, or MDE or something. Brent Nunley, welcome to Quad 101. You've been through this, Brent, haven't you? Art, how you doing there? You got yourself muted? Ah, there you go. I was out of coffee. I drank all mine up this morning. All right, so now go down to the switch. Not that one, but the one. The switch on the end is the one you're going to use for mode. The one under your thumb. No, that one. Yes. So hit enter once till it starts blinking. Now hit the switch. That's it. Now hit exit, exit. Again. There you are. So now you've got the name to take for some reason. Hit enter and hold it down. Hit edit. Go. What does the name say?
Mode.
Wonder why it didn't show up. Did the ARM name show up? Hit exit again. I'm having a hard time. Yeah, anyway, that's it. That's switch. I hit exit again. Again. All right, doesn't matter that I don't know why the mode didn't show up. Go down to channel 7.
Oh, here's.
Oh, it shows up after you turn the
there you
dial.
go. Okay, hit enter. Type beep. Yeah, that's a little quirk in the software. Now that you did that, I remember that. It drove me crazy. I wonder why it never showed up. And then as soon as I rolled off it, there it was. Exit. If it says beep, exit. Roll down one. Hold enter. Hold it in till it blink. Make it not. I'm sorry. Hit escape. Just touch it once till it beep. And now go ahead and work the momentary switch in the back. See, that tells you what switch it is. Now just exit out of that whole mess. All right, so you're all set up there. So what you've got basically is the 3 switches, and they're set to the right switches, and that'll be aux 1, 2, and 3. So now power up the quad again and go back into beta flight, and we'll set up the modes tab.
All right.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is
Oh,
let me
wait.
get over. Oh, let me get over to my.
On the quad, I got a blinking red light instead of a green light.
Did you power? You put the battery in to the
Yeah.
quad? Did it beep and turned on?
Uh-huh.
All right, go ahead and exit out of all that back to the home screen, and move your radio a little further away from the quad. You're probably swamping it.
Nah, it's green.
Yeah, that's no. Keep it away. Keep it further
Oh,
away
it
because
was
otherwise.
it was red because I was in that menu, I think.
No,
I think-
sometimes you put the radio to. It shouldn't have been. I found that if you get the radio right on top of an XM Plus, it'll show that it's not bound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just keep it a few more inches away. There you go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into into beta flight again. All right. Let me plug my little quad in so I can get into the settings.
So I click on the add range in the arm.
So you go into modes tab. See the modes tab?
Yeah, I'm on modes tab.
Okay, let me, so what you want to do is add range for arm. Now click the switch, the arm switch. All right, it must be an older version of it. Just go ahead and pick aux 1.
Isn't it aux 1?
Yeah, aux 12 is the RSSI. That's why it was bouncing all over the place. Now move the switch.
Yeah, it's going from one end to the other.
Okay, so put it in the position where it's armed. Now you see that yellow slider at the top? Slide
Yeah.
it all the way over to the right. And you see the left tab on that? You can make it bigger or smaller. The
Yeah.
right tab. Move it up to where it's about the same amount on the right as the left. That's what I do. Slide it to the right. Right about there. That's good. So now, what that's saying is when the little tab is inside of that yellow range area, that's when it's armed. When it's anywhere else, it's off.
Right.
Okay? So now let's go down to angle mode. Add range. That'd be auxiliary 2. And slide you want angle range up at the top. First, that'd be the default. Okay, so slide the slider all the way over to the left. And shorten that up a little bit. All right. So that's that. Now you want horizon mode in the center. Horizon mode allows you to, like angle mode, but you can still do rolls and flips with it.
So just drag this over to there or leave it where it's at?
You've got the angle one set. So when F2, when your mode switch is pushed up high, you'll be in angle mode. Now we add a range for horizon mode. So click add range.
Oh, I see.
Aux 2.
Okay. I
Click
got
the
it.
switch in the middle and now narrow that a little bit. There you go. And now anything other than that, if it's not angle and if it's not acro or horizon, it's acro. So there is no switch for acro. Acro
Okay.
is the absence of a mode command. So that's
Okay.
automatically going to be an acro
All right.
when the switch is all the way down.
Okay, hang on one second. Hello?
Hello.
What's up?
Morning, and I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you.
How you guys doing?
Good, I'm real busy. What's up?
Oh, nothing. I was just calling to say Happy Merry Christmas to you. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yep.
Said Merry Christmas to the whole world, all 10 of us. Okay, now the next thing, scroll down, Mel, to the mode that says beeper. Add range, that'd be aux 3. Hold the momentary switch, slide the slider all the way up to the end.
Okay.
Is it beeping when you hit it? Now hit save before you do anything else. Way down lower right-hand corner of the screen, save all.
I don't hear anything.
Well, it may not.
What's that?
I'm still not certain what kind of ESCs you have in that thing. But save it. Make sure you hit the save button down in the lower right. There you go. Or else you have to do all that again. Okay. So we've got the basic modes set up on the 3 switches there, and we've got the RSSI set to channel 12. So
Okay. Now that I came out of that mode I was in and saved it,
yeah, it's
now it
beeping.
beeps.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, that's great. Now let's see which way. Now let's check the motors out. So go down to the motors tab.
Okay.
If you look just above and right to there's a little switch that says down there, I understand the risks. See that little switch? It's down at the underneath the right there. Yeah. And what that's saying is, if I cut the shit out of myself because the props are spinning, I understand that could happen. That allows you to actually make the motors turn.
Okay.
So now you see the thing that says master slider. To the left of that switch is a slider that says master. It's right in the center. Yep. Push that up just a little bit. Oh, cool. Okay. Whoa, get it? Now get it turning very slowly, as slow as you can. And now what we're going to do is you're going to try to determine which way the motors are turning. All right? By touching them with your hand. And see if you it's sometimes it's really tough to figure.
No, it's easy. This left rear is turning in.
Counterclockwise.
Yep.
The right rear should be clockwise.
The left front is clockwise.
Correct.
Yep, they're turning right. They're turning correct.
Okay, and by all rights they should have. If the thing had ever been flown or run, that would have been set. If any of them were wrong, then you would be using a tool called the BL Heli Configurator, which allows you to reverse the directions of the motors. All right, so you got motors, okay? So now pull the slider all the way down and go into the OSD screen.
Can I put the props on now?
No.
Okay.
You don't put those props on until you're ready to take it outside and fly it.
Okay.
There's no reason you should ever want to run that thing at all with props on it until you're ready to fly it.
Okay.
So now let's take a look at the OSD. Now, do you have a set of goggles?
Yeah. I'd have to go get them.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, you want to entertain for a couple minutes and I'll be back?
Sure.
All right.
Art, I'm going to run to Nature's Calling Me too. So Art,
Okay.
we're going to turn it over to you, buddy. You're
All
on.
right.
Do you like some music?
Art, tell a joke.
Next, after this, we're going to put components on a distortion board. This is for guitar effects pedals. This is for an 808 classic overdrive, which is a tube screamer, which is what Stevie Ray Vaughan uses in his music. So these are pretty cool. Now, I've got a whole bunch of neat little boards here. I have one here. This is called, yeah, I don't know if you can see that, if you focus in. It's called the Muffin. And this is a big muff distortion slash, well, it could be an overdrive, but it's more of a distortion board. And the neat thing about this board is you can do a lot of mods on this to where you can make it sound like one of the older versions of the big muffs, or you can make it what they call the creamy dreamer that has more of a smooth uh, distortion sound, or you could do all sorts of neat mods like set up a rotary switch where you could select the diodes on this. And the reason you want to do that is that really changes the characteristics of the distortion pedal. Using a germanium diode versus a silicon diode. Silicon diode, I think it's more of a warm, smoother distortion, where a germanium is more crunchy sound, and you can even use light emitting diodes, LEDs, and those give a whole different sound. And believe it or not, if you use the different color LEDs, you get a different sound from that. You probably saying, "Well, why would that be?" That's a big thing
Uh,
for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's
Hey, we got to get you into racing drones, Art.
yeah. There you go.
Brent says, "Be careful, that Punisher is fast." Yeah, it's a full-blown, badass 5-inch quad with a big-ass 100C battery on it, and I think that the first thing Mel should do when he finally gets it ready to fly, and it's almost there, be to throw it into angle mode, take it out there, set it down, and just play around with very low throttle settings, just line of sight stuff without the goggles. Just get used to the feel of it, and get ready to hit the arm switch if you have to let it fall out of the sky, and practice more with the whoops through the goggles, because that thing is not a beginner's quad. So when he comes back, I'm going to tell him that when he does fly at line of sight, he better have a camera running, because I think that would be very entertaining. Hover, exactly right.
Yeah.
Hover nose out first. Now Mel's an RC pilot, so he's used to nose in, and all that. But hover, hover it, and be careful with it. And if it looks like it's starting to come at you and you don't know what to do, hit that arm, because these things can do that. They can all of a sudden, they're like flying buzzsaws. Have you ever seen have you ever seen a manatee cut up by a boat propeller? It looks with all the slices in it, like in a bread slicer.
Yeah.
That's what when you get hit by a quad. I've seen people had their heads, their entire faces laid open in slices like this, right down to the bone. I'm talking serious injury. Yeah, you can seriously hurt yourself with one of these things. And that's why, the Mavics and all those things can hurt you too, but nothing. Yeah, nothing like these things. I see we had Dennis Loveladies in here. Hey, Dennis, how are you? And I saw that Indigo Rhino is here.
Yep.
Sorry if we haven't been paying attention to the chat, but we're trying to get Mel set up here, and I think other than setting up the on-screen display, which is not necessary for it to fly, but it's nice to see some information in the on-screen I think that right now he could throw some props on it, take it out there, and it's ready. We've got the radio set up, we've got the modes set up. The rates are stock
Yep.
Betaflight 4
Hey,
0.0
hello,
rates,
Bill
and
from Metro Drones.
two-stroke me FPV. How you doing? Nope, put it in acro mode, take off full throttle with goggles on. That's how you made a new build. Yeah, I'll tell you, if he does that, I'm glad I'm about 800 miles away from him. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh
Let's see
man,
how
look,
high I can go.
look at that. I mean, look at that. Got 14 people. I never. I mean, see, here's what happened this morning. I said, Mel, I need to see what you're doing, and you need to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So the easiest way would be to just create a phony live stream,
Yep.
hook up in StreamYards, and never go live, and then just delete the video, that make a private video out of it, and then when you're all done, just delete it. And that way I can use all my OBS and my different views of being able to go to the radio, to show them what's going on the radio, or show them what's going on the Betaflight screen. I can do all that using my stuff, and I can see, like, he's got a camera that he uses to show his studio, and I said that'd be great, because then we could almost work like we're in the same room. And I said, you know what? I asked him if he would mind going live, and he said no. I said, well, listen, I think this might be a lot of fun. I doubt anybody would want to watch this. It'd be like watching paint dry, but I ended up with half a crowd. Ended up with half a crowd
This sucker
here.
holds 3 cups of coffee. And
Yeah,
I filled it up.
What's really cool is I remember how to. I've been using that. The new Jumper T16 radio, and I haven't touched this Tyrannus. Of course, it's still Open TX, but the buttons, the way you work the buttons is just a little bit different. Now, where did Mel go? He went off to get his goggles. And,
Yeah, he
went to
it's
lunch.
probably in his storage. He's going through his truck. Where is it? Oh,
Yeah.
there's my.
Because we want to
Lloyd-
see if the VTX actually works.
Yep.
And what I've got, let me go get it here. What I use in my shop here whenever I'm working on these things, and if you all saw that little video I did, I use this as a ground station too. But this thing here is a little, see it? It's a little receiver, and it has a screen on it, and it's the same panel that's in those Viper goggles.
Oh.
So when I'm working in the shop, this is great to have, because I can turn the quad on and I'll see what I would see in the analog goggles on this screen, and I can use it to set everything up the way I want. Now, what I'm also using this for is a source of the video signal for the DJI goggles. So in that respect, they call it a ground station. Now, it's a little more cumbersome to fly with a ground station, but one of the benefits of it is that you can crank this thing up real high off the ground, point these directional antennas in the area of the sky where you're flying,
Right.
and then you don't have the antennas on your goggles that require your head to be looking in the right angle and everything. You can set that up like a fixed ground station, and get the best signal that you can get for it. And that's what I'm going to do when I fly these FPV fixed wings, because some of those
wanted
things.
to talk to you about coming down and
I saw that in your email. Yeah.
what I want to do is I want to combine it, fishing and drone flying. What I
that'd be
might
great.
do is get someone from one of the fishing channels to come down. Then we could do like a combination collab.
It'd
You
be
know,
great.
like-
When are you coming? March?
Well, I've been looking at like right around the middle of March. I want to get there when the water starts to get warm up, and the fishing will start getting really good. We'll
Hey,
go-
Roland's here. Hey, Roland.
we'll go over to the Indian River and catch sea trout and
Yeah, my
red.
son, my son's got a house right on the Indian River, and he's got a dock and a boat. So, how
Oh,
cool would that be?
what
Yeah,
was that?
yeah.
So
So,
we'll do that, and then on the other days we could go inland. I could fish canals, uh, streams, and lakes, and
cool.
little ponds, and uh, look for exotic fish because the people out there in Florida, they get tired of their tropical fish. What do? They dump it in the rivers or the
Yeah.
canals, and
All
now you
right,
got
Art. Mel is back. I don't want to interrupt you, but let's get this finished up here. But no, that'd be great. It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be good to have you down here too. It'd be good to meet you. So yeah, I would look forward to that. So Mel,
Yeah.
is your headphones back on?
Yep.
All righty. You got some big time goggles there, man. Fat Sharks.
I got a great deal on those. They're Dominator V3s, I
Super.
think.
Yeah, those are
And,
and got eyeballs and everything on them.
Yeah, I got these. I got these off on eBay a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, for $300.
All right, turn them on.
They're on.
Did you find out? Did you find the channel?
No, not yet.
Do you have a channel search on it, or do you have to do it manually?
You gotta do it manually.
All right, see if you can figure out what channel it's on.
I found it. I got video.
Okay. Now, if you go back to your beta flight
Okay.
into the OSD tab,
Something's beeping.
probably your quad because it's been sitting unattended. Unplug your quad and plug it back in again. Your your flight controller may have gotten a little warm just sitting there, plugged in all that time. We probably should have unplugged it before you went out looking for the goggles.
Oh.
Okay, so now you have your OSD tab,
Yeah.
and over on the left there, you see all the different selections that you could put on there, and the ones that are checked are already on there. So you've got, what does the top one say? RSSI?
Yeah.
So somewhere on your screen, you should have a little, what looks like a cell phone power ramp signal, bars and a number. Is that it down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen?
Yeah. It's blinking in my screen on my goggles.
Yeah, because, well, what does the number say in your goggles?
0.
You got your transmitter turned on?
Yeah.
Can you arm it and disarm it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, disarm it. We'll figure that out later. It may be that when it's hard to say. So what have you got? You got battery voltage on there. I see what looks like battery voltage.
I've got, yeah.
In the lower left. That's good. What's the thing say in the center? Is that the name or what?
No, in the lower left, it's got a name. It looks like Foxeer, Foxeer.
Oh, no. Okay, well, that's the OSD from the camera itself.
And it says 5.0 volts.
Yeah, that's the camera OSD, and the problem with having is that you're going to need.
But I've got
ignore that line. That's not
battery
coming from.
the
Okay,
way it's
let me
sitting,
explain
I can't
something.
read
Let
the
me-
numbers.
Let me explain something to you, Mel. That camera has an OSD display built into it, besides the one that Betaflight is throwing on the picture.
Okay.
You don't need that camera one because you have beta flight.
Okay.
The problem is turning the Foxier one off. And you need the little joystick control for the Foxier camera to plug into that little thing, that little two wire deal that you have coming out of your the back of your camera there, in order to get into that menu. And that's not something we're going to be able to do today, because not only are you going to have to find the little joystick that came with that camera, I don't know if Brent still has it or not, but you need a little joystick. It's a little tiny postage-sized card with one little 5-way joystick button, or some smaller buttons on it, with a little 2-prong mini plug that'll plug into that little thing that's connected to your video camera, and that enables you to change camera settings, and that has nothing to do with beta flight. So for the time being, you're going to have that thing plastered on the bottom of your goggles. You just have to ignore it, and until we figure out how to get rid of that, and that's more than we can do here. But for the rest of the on-screen display, you can decide what you want and where you want it on the screen by selecting it in this screen in beta flight, and then grabbing it with your mouse on the screen there in the center and moving it to where you want it. So what do you see on your screen right now that shows up in the center there under the beta flight logo? See that? Not on your goggles, but on your computer.
Oh. Well, in the lower left corner is voltage, and it says low voltage.
That's that whole line across the bottom is coming from your camera. There's nothing you can do about that.
Oh.
No, wait a minute. Those that you're highlighting, right? That's correct. Okay, so that's probably falling in the same place as the cameras. So grab that and push it up. Push it up grab it with the mouse, move it up, let it go. There you go. And move it over to the left a little bit.
Okay, now I can see it in there better.
In the goggles, yeah. So what you're going to do is move that stuff around until in the goggles it shows up where you like it.
Okay.
So you've got that's your battery voltage. Now, is that your total battery voltage or your single cell battery voltage?
I think it's total, because it says 16.8.
Okay. A better way of displaying your battery voltage for flying is the average cell voltage. And you'll see, if you look on the left, you'll see one of those selections says average cell voltage, because that tells you a number that's going to be 3.5, 3.8, 4, and you don't have to do the math in your head. You know that when you get down to 3.5, 3.3, that it's time to land.
Okay.
So I would stick that under or over the total voltage. So you have that. That's a handy one to have.
Well, I just turned the total voltage off, so.
You can. And that's what I fly. I fly with average
voltage.
No, that's just your warning. That's your warning. That's your default warning that it shows you on the screen. That's the one that'll give you any warnings. And I would put that up kind of right in the middle, up near the top. The warnings, right in the middle, not that far, underneath where it says beta flight. It's right in the middle of the screen. If something comes up and says over temp or problem, you want it to flash right in front of your face. Also, you can turn that beta flight logo. There's a little switch that says logo up at the top right there. It says turn that off and get it out of the way. There you are. What else you got showing up there already?
You got a signal over here. I've got the mode.
Fly mode, right. You want mode, you want craft name, and you want RSSI. You got everything you want already on there. Just move it around where you want, keeping in mind that you don't want to put it under that line that the camera is screwing you up with down at the bottom.
Right.
And this is something that as you fly, you say, God, I wish I had throttle. I'd like to have, there's one called throttle position that'll show you what percentage your throttle's at. That's handy to have. So you might want to add that in, but I wouldn't worry about that all that right now. Just make sure you're not going off the right end of the screen or the left end. There you go. And check in the goggles to see where it shows up.
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's why it's handy to have your goggles on while you do this. And then do not forget to hit save before you leave this screen, or you'll have to do it all over again.
When you do this air stabilized horizon, and air means
Air means acro.
acro.
Correct. It
Yeah.
defaults because you've got air mode permanently enabled. So when there's no other modes, air mode is going to be enabled
Okay.
in acro mode.
All right. Well, it's a fairly decent picture for analog. I mean, it's not bad.
I think it'll work fine. So hit the save button now.
I did.
Okay, and Mel, for all intents and purposes, so you could take that drone out, throw the goggles on, and fly it right now. What I don't know is what power your settings your transmitters on, and this is something that you need to get together with Brent and find out what VTX is in that thing, and then go online and get the manual for it, so you'll know how to change the channels and how to set the power output levels. They're all done by a little push button on the VTX, and I can't help you with that unless I know, because they're all different. Every one of them works differently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and you need to get the little joystick for the camera to get that out of there. But as far as having the drone ready to go, you got the receiver set up, you got the transmitter set up, you got Betaflight all set up with all the defaults and rates, and the switches work, the modes work, the motors are turning in the right direction, and you're ready. You're ready. We did
Now, this capacity on the alarms and attitude, the RSSI is set at 20. The capacity set at 2,200.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's just default stuff. Did your RSSI ever show up more than 0 in your goggles?
That's the number in the bottom right corner with the signal.
Yeah, with the cell bars.
No.
It's still showing 0?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you did save that. Go back to the receiver tab.
Okay.
And you got aux 12 is bouncing around, and you got aux 12 selected up top there for RSSI channel. Does it say aux 12? Looks like it. And then,
Yeah.
all right, so disconnect out of Betaflight.
You close it.
Yep, just disconnect, hit the disconnect button, the red button up at the top, and then you don't need Betaflight anymore. And unplug everything, unplug the quad, unplug from the computer, and unplug the battery.
Okay. All right.
Okay, now plug the
Now,
quad back. Plug
Should I
the
use a
quad
different
battery.
antenna?
I wouldn't worry about that right now. You have an antenna on the quad, right? You have the VTX antenna, that red thing. I can't
Yeah,
see
the
it. It's
orange
off-
one,
right off-
but I have another antenna for the goggles too. I was just
Yeah,
wondering.
that's diversity, but it doesn't matter. One antenna will get the signal until you start flying. You should put 2 antennas on, maybe a patch and a.
I don't have a place to put 2. I only have a place to put 1.
Oh, I thought your goggles had 2 antennas.
No.
Okay, so you don't have a diversity module in it. That's fine. That'll work. You're
That's
not going
all
to
I
be
have.
flying. You're not going to be flying far enough away where you need more than that anyway.
I mean, I could put something over here, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Just that'll be more than adequate to get you
Now,
going.
what's this? I mean, I noticed this is the balance plug for the. No, this is the charger plug.
No, that actually on the Fat Sharks, I think that runs the fan. I think there's a place to plug that
Oh,
in
that's
to
what
power the
that's-
fan.
that's
yeah,
what
that
that's
powers the fan.
I couldn't remember.
So go ahead and plug the quad battery back in, and let's see if that RSSI comes up.
Oh, so
All
turn the
right, so-
goggles back on.
Yeah, turn the goggles back on. It should be working. Maybe move the transmitter a little further.
Oh, now
away.
it's changing. Now it's 72, 71.
There you go. Okay, good. All right. So Mel, my friend,
Yep.
what I thought was going to take us 10 hours to do only took us a couple hours. How about that?
Now, I'm gonna solve a problem for you.
Anytime.
How's that for trading?
Yeah.
You mentioned the third arm
Yeah.
for Perry. How often do you have to do that?
Oh, I don't have any trouble at all pairing those things because I've learned the art, and you did it today too, of plugging the battery in with one hand.
Yeah, but there's an easier way. All you need is an arm switch. A double-ended cable with a switch. You plug it in with the switch off.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Hold your button,
yeah.
flip the switch.
Yeah, yeah, that would be an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
I haven't felt the need to build one.
Okay.
No,
So
it's a
now
good
I can
idea.
put this back together, right?
Yeah, put that back on, and
Now this wasn't stuck to anything, should it be?
it doesn't really. If you were going to be flying Mr. Steel style, whipping around, crashing into concrete walls, all that stuff, you might want to take a little bit of double sticky and just stick it right down on top of the flight controller, just to hold it in place a little bit.
Okay.
That can't hurt it. Yeah.
Okay.
Or stick it to the underside of the top plate. The only problem with that is when you remove the top plate, you got to keep
Be
in
real
mind that
careful.
you're going to be yanking on the receiver.
Yeah. So I think a little piece of two-sided tape or something to stick it to the.
Yeah, just touch it down. Doesn't it's not going anywhere. Those antenna wires are going to hold it in place.
Well, I was just more concerned about keeping it from making contact with that other board and shorting something out.
No, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I always after I get my receivers bound, I always put a heat shrink over them, and then stick them down with double stick. But a little bit of double sticky tape between that and the flight controller, or between that and the top plate would be fine.
Now, I don't have any heat shrink that big.
Nah, don't worry about it. You don't need it. You just need to make sure it's that if you use the double-sided tape, it's going to insulate it from whatever's on the flight controller.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, my friend. You got a quad.
Okay.
Metro
thank you.
Drone says we will be crashing. It's 10
excuse
10,000
me,
comedian.
Metro. Excuse me. I'm a professional commercial pilot. I don't crash.
Okay. Make sure you got Mel. I was saying when you go to fly this thing and you've got your and you're going to do your first little hovering tests and line of sight tests. Put the GoPro up on a tripod because we all want to see this. I want to see it. I want to make sure everything's working okay.
What I had a plan of is better than that. When I do get ready to go fly this thing, and this thing this top plate had all different lengths of screws. I hope it don't matter.
No.
I have a better plan. I'm going to go over to the park or someplace out of the way, maybe a farm field with a lot of room. And as long as I have a Wi-Fi signal on my phone, I'll put the Phantom 4 Pro, or the Phantom 4 Pro. I'll put the Mavic 2 Pro in a hover and live stream my first flight with this.
Practice hovering it a little bit, line of sight, before you actually try to. That's what I always do. I take them out side the house. You've seen the videos where I'll take them up. I'll check to see where the throttle is, what percentage it takes to hover. It should be about 40%. I'll see what kind of performance it has, just goose it up.
Yeah.
But generally, keep it line of sight and in the angle mode, so it's not going to turn around and hit you in the head.
And do about 10 videos of precision landing.
Yeah, we always need to make sure we have a lot of precision
You
landing
mean
videos.
precision return to home, right?
I think Art's being facetious and making fun of one of our fellow YouTubers, is what I think.
We don't do that kind of thing. That's cyberbullying.
Yes, I guess we have to be careful lest we get thrown out. Well, listen, Mel, I think that ought to wrap it up for us right now, unless you got any other questions.
Well, I think that'll do it. And if I was to have any other quads, all I'd have to do, in theory, if I had a sister quad to this, just copy the settings, pair the receiver, and it'd be ready to fly, right?
Yeah, yeah, you would use pretty much the same settings in beta flight and on the receiver and the modes, and that's why that part of setting them up is pretty simple. And until you start getting into GPS rescue and all that other fancy stuff, what you got there should be more than adequate. And concentrate on learning to fly and fly that practice with that Tiny Hawk, man, and the simulator, because that's and I know you do, but that's gonna be some of the biggest help you can. So
Well, I found a YouTube channel last night, and I don't remember what the channel was. I'd have to go look, but the guy was teaching how to fly these
really,
flight lessons. And his first lesson was learning how to hover. He put up these 4 little markers on the ground, like set up cones.
yeah,
And he said, set yourself a spot, like a 10-foot square spot, put the quad down in the middle, give it enough
Now that's-
throttle to lift it off, and feel your throttle and make the quad hover. And if it starts drifting, give it a little stick to bring it back. And you
now
practice.
he was doing that line of sight, correct? He wasn't doing that through the goggles.
That part he was doing line of sight.
Right, and that's something a lot of people don't do. And anybody who's really a top-notch drone, well, most of them anyway, will tell you that the first thing to learn, is to fly them line of sight like an RC airplane, and that's how you get used to actually the feel of what happens when you move the sticks.
Well, and that's what the hover thing is, and that's
Exactly.
the first lesson. And from then on, it was in the goggles.
Right. So that's what I do with most of my drones now is I'll take them out and do a good hover test. Number one, it's a shakedown to see if anything fails, if anything is loose, if any connections aren't secure. You want to gain some confidence in the thing that it's going to fly, and then I take it out and fly it around through the goggles.
Well, I can close beta fight now too, right? I'm done with that.
Yeah, you're done. You're done with everything. If it was a nice weather and you knew what you were doing, you could go out there and rip one around the backyard.
Well, my backyard's not big enough. That's the problem.
Well, it's metaphorically speaking.
But I can set the Mavic 2 Pro up on the stool, turn the camera on, broadcast live, and fire this thing up and see if I can make it hover.
That'd be fabulous. So
Would you like to see that?
Yeah, and that'd be great. Just I'll tell you what, you'll have to fire up your own live stream for that.
Right.
So after we're done here, that'd be I think that'd be pretty cool. I'll look out for your live stream and join everybody else in the chat. And,
Well, give me a few minutes because I'm kind of anxious.
I'll bet you are. Make sure your battery, top your battery off.
Oh, for all I'm doing, it's good enough.
Yeah, probably. You haven't used that much battery, but yeah, that'd be cool. Make sure you do it in the angle mode though. Don't.
Oh
do
yeah.
Do it in the angle mode. In other words, every switch should be all the way up on the radio except when you arm it.
Right. And I'm not even going to wear the goggles for that. I'm just going to line of sight it just to get the feel of the throttle and.
Absolutely.
Now
that'd be great. I'll look forward to seeing that. I'll chime in. I'll
remember,
chime in like a proud father in the chat.
Do they? Is there something that I have to program this thing setting level?
It's probably you won't really. You could, but more
Remember,
than likely
we did that, and I had to set my Tiny Hawk on the coffee cup and
Yeah,
it perfectly level.
you could do that if you wanted. That's in the but you don't have to. When you first start to hover it, you'll know real quick. It might be off a little, but it shouldn't be off. It can't be off all that much. But if you want to do it, if you want to set it down on something and level it, plug it back into Betaflight, go into the setup tab. The first page says calibrate accelerometer, and just click that button once.
I
and
would
that'll-
like to do that because if I lift off with this thing out in the front yard, I don't want it to start drifting hard right
Okay,
away.
you don't need the flight battery plugged in to do that. The gyro and accelerometer will be powered through the USB port. So just figure out a way to
Okay.
get it level.
Let me
Plug
get
it
something
back.
to set it on.
Okay, all right, good. So who else we got here? We got anybody? Night Train. Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
how
Night
you
Train.
doing? To the moon, Mel. You know, we're a sarcastic bunch of guys, aren't we?
Yes, yes, we are.
We are a sarcastic bunch of guys. I'm so sarcastic that my T-shirt that I'm wearing underneath here. Let me see if I can. In fact, it is getting a little warm. So let me, because it's going to be like 78 degrees here
boy.
today. So we get out of
Oh,
this. My
boy.
T-shirt.
You
My
poor
T-shirt
thing.
says, "National
National.
Sarcastic Society, like we need your support."
Yeah. Yep. Well, I got my Christmas
That's kind of
hat.
that's kind of my philosophy, you know. So we got EBR is here. How you doing, my
EBR,
friend?
yep.
Night Train.
Night
Brent
Train.
Nunley's hanging around. He's for the. Hey, Brent. I'll bet I didn't. I'll bet you didn't think that he'd be getting this thing flying the day after he got it from you. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So Mel's doing the old Tupperware leveling. So, are you in Betaflight yet there, Mel? There you go. Let's see what he does here. Connect.
Some girl named Karen send me pictures all the time. What's that all about?
And she wants your credit card number, too.
Yeah. Oh, I just say close.
You don't need the transmitter on to do this, Mel. All you need to
That's
do is
what I
just plug
turned
it
it
in.
off.
Yeah, okay. Plug it into Betaflight
Yeah.
and connect to it. It'd be interesting to see how level it is.
Okay, it's
Close that.
connected.
Yeah, close that window there in the middle. There you go. And just hit calibrate. There it is. It was a tiny
See,
little
it
bit
was off a little bit.
off. Little bit, yeah. Little bit. Okay.
Okay.
That's all you need. That's all you need to do. Just disconnect it and don't be in a big hurry. Take your time, and we'll look for your live stream and
Yep.
wish you the best. And
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens here in just a
Yeah.
little bit.
yeah,
Okay.
and
Cool.
don't blame me if something goes wrong.
Well, what happened here? Oh, I know what happened. I'm sharing that screen that doesn't have anything on it
Yep.
anymore.
There you
And
go. Okay.
now I can switch. Whoops.
Show us your face.
Yeah.
Switch cameras.
There you are.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
See? When you finish the ice cream,
There
save
you
the dish
go.
because that makes a great thing to set big quads on to level them.
No extra charge.
Look
So,
at there.
Anyway, Mel, this is what I had set up all this for you so we could do this today. And,
Well, you got a big monitor like me now.
yeah, that's a 43-inch TV.
Wow.
Nice.
And it works great. It works great as a monitor. The colors are true on it. And,
That's why I use the one I use.
yeah, yeah, and cheap. I don't think I paid $329 for it a year ago.
What a bargain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I gotta redo my auxiliary camera. Put it
Yeah,
back
put all
where
that
it
stuff back
belongs.
together.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna Art, thanks for coming in, buddy. Always, you know, it's always good to see you. And I'm gonna grab myself. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm gonna grab myself a little lunch while Mel is getting ready, and yeah, it looks. That's right, big monitor, Mel.
That's
I'll
about-
get ready for the big show,
Okay.
and wish you the best, buddy.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes.
Should fly fine as long as you get the props on correct.
Well,
The first time you fire it up, stand back from it.
here's
Oh, you already put them on. That looks. Let me see
this is the front.
Yeah, lift it up a little bit.
Rotation is this way.
Correct. And the back. I can't see the back because it's too
The
low.
back, the rotation
Let me see.
is that
Got them
way
backwards.
and
Got
that
'em
way.
backward. No, you got them backwards in the back side.
They're supposed to go in. Oh, in, right?
In towards the bottom. Yeah. I think you got. I didn't get a quick enough look at them, but I think you got them backwards. Hold it up. I'll tell you real quick. Let me see the bottom.
What's the bottom got to do
All
with
right.
it? I mean,
no, tilted forward, and lift it up a little. No, tilted forward. So I'm looking at the top of the drone. I want to
From
see
the
the top
front.
of the. I want to see the back.
well, that's
There
what
you
I
go.
gave
Now,
you. You said,
but show me the top of the drone. You're showing me the. You're showing
well,
me
you
the
said
rear
tilt
view.
it forward. There's only one forward tilt. So tilt it backwards.
There you go. Right. Now, your props are on backwards. The two rear props are backwards.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's so easy to get those friggin' things on wrong.
Yeah.
Well, this thing would have just done nothing but backflips.
It would have just gone flip.
Yep.
It wouldn't have hurt anybody. It wouldn't have gotten off the ground. It would have, because that's what turtle mode would do. It just
Yep.
that would be turtle mode. It would have gone flip. The real problems are when you don't have 2 and 2 props. You got 3 and 1 somehow. You know, you got. Anyway, good luck to you. I'm gonna say goodbye and go eat some lunch. And I think you're all set. You need me for anything else?
No, I think we're good for a test flight.
Okay, I'll eagerly look forward to it, buddy.
Okay, everybody in chat, be watching for me to go live here in a few minutes.
There
All
we
right,
go.
will do,
And
Mitch.
Barry's RC
Well-
came on. Hey, Mitch, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Brent Nunley, Night Train, Love My Drones, EBR, Metro Drones.
Merry
Buddy
Christmas,
Art
everybody.
here. Everybody,
Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas. Have a great holiday. If I miss saying hello, thanks for coming into this little impromptu deal. And
Yep.
wish Mel the best. Hopefully, I think we got ourselves covered.
Yep.
And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to Art. Art, take care.
All right.
See you later.
Later.
Okay, now they're spinning in.
There you go. Okay. Good deal.
Okay.
All right, Mel, good luck to you. I will see you on your live stream.
See you in a bit.
Okay. And that leaves me and the monkey. And I'll bring in some music and tell everybody take the rest of the day off. Go play with your drones. I'm starving to death here. I'm going to go eat some lunch. Have a great day. Have a good holiday. I think, as I usually do, I need to turn it over to my buddy Spank here and let him say goodbye. So Spank, say goodbye to everybody. There we go. And with that, I'm out of here. See you at Mel's.